Before we begin, I have to ask you something. What city are you watching from? Because after tonight, I might just find a story from your hometown. One that's still whispered about in the dark and the dark. If you enjoy true horror stories, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, leave a like, and watch till the very end. Because the final story will leave you absolutely speechless. Now, let's begin. It happened when I was 19. Primetta worked part-time at a small roadside motel in rural Pennsylvania. The kind that had been renovated since the early 80s. My job was the night shift. 10 p.m. to 6. Quite boring. Until one night it wasn't. The motel had 13 rooms total, and on a good night, maybe 5 were occupied. That evening, only 2 were booked. Room 104, a truck driver who checked in before midnight, and room 217, which technically didn't exist. You see, the motel had 2 floors, but the second was shut down years ago after a fire damaged half of it. The manager locked off the staircase and covered the hallway with "Do not enter" tape. I've been told never to go up there, liability issues, they said. Around 2:15 a.m., the phone at the front desk rang. I answered out of habit. Mason's Motel. Front desk. How can I help you? There was static, and then a soft, trembling voice. I go, "Can you send someone up here? Please." I frowned. "Where are you calling from?" "Room 217, she whispered. My stomach twisted. That's impossible," I said, trying to sound calm. "That room's closed." Silence. Then, a faint sound like quiet sobbing. "She's in here," the girl said. "She won't stop staring at me." The line went dead. For a few seconds, I just sat there, the old rotary phone buzzing softly in my ear. I tried to convince myself it was a prank. Maybe someone sneaked upstairs somehow. Still, I grabbed the master key and a flashlight and walked toward the taped-off staircase. The air grew colder as I climbed. I could smell old wood, dust, and something faintly metallic. When I reached the second floor, I saw the long hallway wallpaper peeling, faded carpeting, every door locked and numbered. Every door except one. Room 217 was slightly open. I pushed it gently, and it creaked like something exhaling. Inside was total darkness, except for a faint light from the window. The room was in shambles, bed half burned, old television smashed, dust thick enough to write your name in. But what made my blood run cold was the mirror on the far wall. Someone had wiped a handprint through the dust fresh. And benem me reflected in that mirror, I saw movement. A girl, standing in the corner near the window, her head tilted, long dark hair covering her face. I froze. I hadn't heard anyone enter. "Hey!" I started, but my voice cracked. She turned her head toward me. Her face, it wasn't burned, but it looked like it should have been. Her skin was gray, cracked in places like dry paint. Tinsley spoke, the same voice from the phone. She won't stop staring at me. Only now, she was staring straight at me. I stumbled back, dropped the flashlight, and it flickered across the floor. When I picked it up again, she was gone. I ran. I didn't care about rules. I didn't care about anything. I bolted down the stairs and locked myself in the office. For the rest of the shift, I sat there shaking, watching the monitor. The upstairs cameras had been offline for years, except one suddenly came back on. The screen showed static for a moment. Then, a single frame appeared. Room 217. Empty. But on the burned wall, written in what looked like ash, were words. Check-in completed. I quit the next morning. A few months later, I drove past the place again. The sign was gone. The building boarded up. I stopped and asked a local diner owner what happened to the motel. He said it had been closed for years. "After the fire?" I asked. He nodded slowly. "Yeah. A young girl died in that fire. Room 217. I told him that was impossible. I worked there just months ago. He stared at me for a long moment, then said quietly, "Mason's Motel burned down in 1996. I laughed, thinking he was joking. until I checked online. Wasn't. Every picture I found showed the same thing. A charred, half-collapsed building surrounded by yellow tape. The place where I'd worked didn't exist anymore. The first story was terrifying enough to keep me awake for days. But the second one, that one didn't just scare me. It followed me home. I didn't believe in ghosts before it happened. After that motel story, I tried to explain everything logically. Maybe stress, hallucinations, or lack of sleep. But the second story, it didn't let me hide behind logic anymore. This one happened 2 years later, when I moved to Ohio for college. Renting an apartment near campus was expensive, so I took a room in an old Victorian house that had been converted into 4 separate units. My room was on the first floor, right by the main hallway. The walls were paper thin, and at night, the house seemed to breathe, the kind of constant creaking that feels almost alive. The landlord was an older man named Dennis. He lived upstairs and mostly kept to himself. During my first week there, he told me that if I ever heard strange noises, not to worry, old wood expands and talks, he said. But sometimes, it didn't sound like wood. The first time I noticed something off was during a thunderstorm. It was 3:12 a.m. I remember because the power had just gone out. I was sitting at my desk, finishing an essay on my laptop when I heard soft knocking, not on my door, from inside the hallway closet. At first, I ignored it. Maybe pipes, maybe an animal. But then it came again. Slow and deliberate knock. 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 I grabbed a flashlight and approached. The knocking stopped the moment I touched the handle. When I opened the closet, it was empty. Just coats, a mop, and a faint smell of mildew. I closed it, shrugged, and went back to my desk. Then the knocking started again. Only this time it came from the other side of the closet door, as if someone was now standing inside, tapping from behind the wood. I froze, light trembling in my hand. "Hello," I whispered. No response. I swung the door open. Nothing. Just darkness. But when I aimed my flashlight lower, I saw something that made my stomach twist. A wet footprint. Small. Bare. Leading from the back of the closet toward the hallway floorboards. The next morning, I asked Dennis if anyone else had keys to the building. Said? No. I told him what I'd heard, and he smiled the kind of smile people give when they don't believe a word. Eerie saying, you heard her, he said. Her? Who? I asked. He shrugged. We used to call her the woman behind the door. Old tenant stories. Don't pay it any mind. I wanted to press him for more, but his tone made it clear. Conversation over. A week. Passade. The noises got worse. Sometimes the knocking moved from the closet to the bathroom door to my bedroom wall. One night, I recorded it on my phone. At first, all I heard was static, but when I turned the volume up, there was a whisper. A woman's voice. Soft, ragged. Let me out. I deleted the recording immediately. I told myself it was interference, audio distortion, anything but what it sounded like. But 2 nights later, I learned the truth. It was around 2 a.m. when I woke to the sound of my closet door creaking open. Not all the way, just enough for a sliver of blackness to show. The room was freezing, my breath visible in the beam of my phone's light. Then I saw her, a face, pale as wax, pressed against the gap of one bloodshot eye, staring directly at me. I couldn't move, couldn't scream, just watched as the door opened wider, inch by inch. She stepped out slowly, bare feet leaving damp prints on the floor. Her hair hung wet and tangled, her nightgown gray and tattered like it hadn't dried in years. Please, she whispered. I just need to sleep. And then she walked through the wall. Not disappeared, phased through it, like mist dispersing into the plaster. I didn't stay long after that. I packed everything and crashed at a friend's dorm. But before I left, I confronted Dennis one last time. He sighed when he saw me standing at his door with my suitcase. I told you not to think about her, he said quietly. Who is she? I demanded. He hesitated, then said, her name was Evelyn. Lived here before you were born. Used to rent the same room. The story goes, she got locked inside the closet during a house fire. They found her a week later. Closet door had melted shut. I didn't believe him at first, until he handed me an old Polaroid. It showed the house, decades ago. Yellow police tape across the porch, and through one of the lower windows, you could see something faint, but unmistakable. A hand pressed against the glass. I moved out that morning. Months later, curiosity got the best of me, and I looked up the old address online. There was a single archived newspaper clipping from 1989. Young woman found deceased after fire in Westfield home. Identified as Evelyn Hart. Believed to have suffocated inside a locked closet. That night, I dreamed I was back in that room. The closet door was closed again. From the other side, I heard 3 slow knocks. Then her voice, calm, almost kind. You promised you'd let me sleep. I woke up to my apartment closet door slightly open. I don't keep it closed anymore. The first ghost haunted the place I worked. The second haunted where I lived. But the third one haunted me. They say hauntings are tied to places, but what if the place doesn't matter? What if, after enough fear, something starts following you? That's what I believe now. Because after the motel and after Evelyn, the next ghost didn't belong to a building. It belonged to me. I'd just moved into a new downtown studio, determined to start over. Fresh walls, clean air, no creaking floors. I unpacked, ate takeout, and told myself the past was behind me. But around 3 a.m., I woke to the click of a door latch. Only, I didn't have a closet. The front door was locked. The apartment was silent. 10. Primera sa. W. It. The bathroom mirror. Fogged as if someone had just stepped out of a shower. I hadn't touched it since evening. When I wiped it clean, my reflection hesitated a fraction of a second behind me, like a delayed video feed. I blinked hard. Maybe exhaustion. I draped a towel over the mirror and went back to bed. The next night, the towel lay folded neatly on the counter. The glass was clear, spotless. Across the surface, traced in condensation, was a single word. Look. My breath turned cold. I tore the towel down again, covered it, checked every window, every lock. No one was there. But from behind the covered glass came the faintest tap, tap, tap. Days passed. I tried ignoring it. Then the woman appeared. It started as a blur behind me, a faint silhouette when I brushed my teeth. But each night, she became sharper. Long, wet hair, hollow eyes, a mouth that smiled too wide. She never moved unless I looked away, and every time I did, she stood closer. I stopped using mirrors. I covered them all, even my phone screen, but reflections live everywhere. Windows, black TV screens, metal faucets. I caught her in all of them. One evening, riding the late subway, my reflection blinked after I did. A chill ran through me. The lights flickered, and a whisper slid against my ear. Don't look away. When the lights returned, her face glared back from the window instead of mine. I stumbled off at the next stop and ran all the way home. The mirror greeted me with new writing. Found you. By then, I hadn't slept in 2 days. I smashed the bathroom mirror, certain it would end. The shards scattered like silver knives, but every piece still showed a reflection, closer in each fragment. Smiling, I covered the floor with towels and avoided the bathroom for weeks. Then my friend Sam dropped by. Man, you look terrible, he said. I mumbled something about work. He went to wash his hands. Seconds later, he called, Hey, why's your mirror fixed? My blood froze. I hadn't replaced it. When I entered, the glass was whole again, smooth and gleaming. Sam frowned. Why is your reflection smiling? I wasn't. Before I could speak, my reflection moved, raised a hand and waved. Sam stepped back, whispering, What the hell? The lights blinked out, When they flicked on again, he was gone. Only me. And her. She stood behind my reflection, head tilted, eyes black, mouth split wide in a grin that didn't belong to any human face. Now, I live alone. No mirrors, no screens. I keep the windows covered, the lights low, but sometimes, when I pour water or glance at a dark surface, I see her shape ripple underneath mine. She doesn't need the glass anymore. She's here, behind my eyes, waiting for me to look long enough. I don't think she wants to hurt me. She just wants to be seen. And every time I blink, I see her smile a little wider. Maybe she came from the motel. Maybe she's the echo of Evelyn. Or maybe she's something older, something that noticed me watching too many ghost stories and decided to watch back. So if you ever catch your reflection hesitating, even for a split second, don't smile back, and whatever you do, don't look away. Have you ever seen something move in a reflection when you didn't? A shadow, a face, a smile that wasn't yours? Tell me in the comments what city you're from. Maybe the next story I tell will come from there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, so you don't miss the next night you... Ellen wish you hadn't watched alone.